Hello, my name is Andy Petro, and I want to tell you about an experience I had many years ago. It was 1955, 2 days before high school graduation, and our class decided to have a picnic at a nearby lake. So, we got ready and arrived there on a beautiful summer day. Although the water was cold, because this was in Michigan, where the water doesn't warm up much, we had lunch, played around, and suddenly, I saw some friends on a floating platform about 100 yards away, waving for me to swim over. I really didn't want to go into the water because of the cold, but I took a running dive. The water was freezing, and as I swam toward the platform, I started cramping in my lower abdomen. Unable to kick anymore, I began to panic, swallowing water and sinking. Suddenly, I resurfaced with my head out of the water. I looked around, and what did I see? I saw the guys on the platform, but I couldn't scream because I had water in my throat, in my mouth, everywhere. I waved, and they waved back. They must have thought I was kidding. Then, I sank again and never came back to the surface. The water was getting colder and colder, I was shaking violently, and as I sank, the darkness intensified. Suddenly, I felt something on my feet sliding down to the bottom of the lake, and then I hit the bottom in a seated position. Despite the cold, I started feeling better, thinking I might push myself to the surface. However, when I tried, I realized I was stuck. At that moment, my body was screaming that I was dying. Finally, I admitted to myself that I was dying. Then, a voice in my head, familiar yet unknown, said, "Andy, you need to stop and rest a bit." And then, I spoke to myself in my head and said, "Are you crazy? I need to get up, I just need a breath of air." The voice tells me, "Andy, you really need to rest, so just relax." I said, "I can't do that." And the voice says again, "You need to relax." So, I asked the voice, "Okay, do you promise that if I relax, I'll make it to the surface?" And the voice replies, "If you relax, everything will be fine." I said, "Okay, do you promise?" And the voice says, "Yes, I promise." So, I said, "Okay, I will relax." The moment I relaxed, I left my body, and in a timeless moment, I was in a tunnel. I don't remember entering the tunnel, suddenly, I was there. It was warm, happy, I could breathe again, filled with joy and unconditional love. From complete terror, I went to absolute ecstasy in a timeless minute. I looked down and saw my body at the bottom of the lake, but I didn't care. At that moment, I didn't care about my life or being on earth because I knew I was home. I turned in the other direction and saw a light. It wasn't large, but so bright it should have burned my retinas, but it didn't hurt. The light began pulling me, like a giant magnet pulling me through the tunnel toward it. Suddenly, in a timeless moment, I was no longer in the tunnel. Now, I was in the middle of a giant sphere, the size of a football coliseum, hovering, surrounded by movie screens in all directions, showing all my lives and actions. The light was beside me, not visible, but I felt it. And we began to discuss all these events in all my lives, understanding everything and feeling everything I caused in all the people involved. I went through several lives, being a woman and on various other planets. After being there for months, I returned to the tunnel and approached the light. The light said, "Andy, I love you." I was amazed because it knew my name. And then, the light says, "Andy, we love you." And when the light said this, the whole background and the light sort of disappeared. Now, there were trillions of other lights just like me, and they said in unison, "Welcome back, Andy." At that moment, I was absorbed by the light, became the light. I was neither greater than the light nor smaller, I was a part, a holographic piece of the light. It's the most fantastic feeling that, as a human, I could imagine. It's indescribable. At that moment, I knew everything. What do you mean, Andy? I mean, I knew everything, there was nothing I didn't know. People often ask me questions. Well, when you were in the light, did you ask about war and peace and everything else? I said, no, I didn't ask. There's no reason to ask questions because I already knew everything, there was nothing unknown. Now, I'm with the light, and the light is really funny, the light has a fantastic sense of humor. Lots of laughter and fun. When we were looking at the review of my life in the giant sphere, the light would say, Andy, look how upset you got about this. You know, in the long run, it means nothing. Why didn't you relax? Why didn't you let go? Why didn't you have more fun while you were on the planet? You're only going to be there for a while because it's not real. Life on Earth is not real, it's like a theater, it's like a movie. There are 8 billion actors on the planet, everyone is playing a role. They come with different costumes, different religions, different races, different genders, all these different things. But once the costumes are taken off, when the play is over, and you're back in the light, the costume is taken off, and what do you know? We are all one. We are all the same. We are made of the same stuff, there is no difference between me and you, no difference between you and anyone else. Here, we are dressed in costumes to be different, to experience things we cannot experience in the light. You can't experience something you already know. I can't experience speaking for the first time because I've been speaking all my life, but when I started speaking for the first time, when I said my first words, that was really exciting for me. When I'm in the light and knowing things, it's different from experiencing them. So, to experience, I lower my vibrations. Because each one has their own unique vibration, that's what makes us different. I lowered my vibrations to be able to reincarnate and be born on a planet like Earth. And now, I can live a life, doing things and experiencing things I would like to experience. And when I experience them, you experience them, everyone experiences them, it contributes to the whole. There is only one, and everything that is, that ever was, that ever will be, is in this oneness. And it's a wonderful, exciting, fantastic experience that I remember while wearing this costume called Andy Petro, of Ukrainian descent, living in the United States in 2022, and I am living my script, doing what I am supposed to do while I am still here, waiting until my character finishes this story, and I can leave here and go back to where I belong. The whole process of being in the light was incredible. It felt like I had been there for years, maybe hundreds of years, but in the light, there is no time, no hierarchy, no judgment, no separation. We are all one, not in a monotonous and boring way, but in a happy, exciting, ever-evolving way, always having new experiences in the light. And then, suddenly, the light says to me, Andy, you have to go back. I said, whoa, no, 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 you got the wrong person. I am not going back. And the light says for the second time, Andy, you are going back. And I said, did you not hear what I said? There is no reason for me to go back to that planet. I'm home. And the light tells me for the third time, Andy, you are going back. And, when I heard the word back, I felt myself being pushed back into my body. The most horrible feeling I can imagine, just as the most exciting experience I could imagine was when I left my body and went back to the light, the most horrible feeling I experienced was returning to my body. I didn't want to be there, I still don't want to be here, but I'm doing what I need to do. So, as I hear all this and am lying on the sand, face down and with my head turned, they are pressing on my lungs to get the water out. This was before CPR in the 1950s, and I am coughing the water out. By the way, I never lost consciousness. This is a complete flow from the moment I left my body at the bottom of the lake to the moment I came back to my body on the sand of the lake. There were no blank spots, it was a continuous flow of consciousness. So, my body was lying there, about to become food for the fish, and I wasn't there, I was in the light. And then, when they found the body, I don't know who found it, and I didn't care because I didn't care about my body. All that mattered was being in the light. I'm still really waiting to go back home. That's my main point. I want to go back home, and obviously, it will happen soon. Meanwhile, I'm doing my best to, firstly, feel joy whenever possible. Because I'm here, it's not important. What is important is that I am here, and what I chose to do is help people feel better about themselves and help them know there is a home. I've been there and am ready to go back. I have the return ticket in my back pocket. I carry it with me all the time. As soon as I find out where the flight is, I'm on it, I'm out of here. Anyway, that's what it means to me. It's a very, very happy process. I'm just waiting for the return home, and for me, it's so obvious and so simple. I like to be happy, I like to be silly, I like joy. Because, when I remember the light was a happy place, the light was full of joy and humor. I say the light is like the greatest stand-up comedian there is because the light told me that the reason I'm here is to experience joy. And the reason everyone exists is to be joyful, and it's very simple, it's not complicated. It's choosing love over hate, it's a choice. And, while I'm here, what I'm trying to do is choose love over hate. I can't do it all the time because I'm a human being like everyone else. But I can try to do it more often than not, love instead of hate, smile instead of getting angry. And there is nothing deep about it, they are simple acts of joy to make someone happier. And, as we are all one, when I make someone happier, it makes me happy. When I hate someone, I'm hating myself. If I hurt someone, I'm hurting myself. There is no separation, no hierarchy. We are all one, and we are all one in the light. I am a holographic piece of the light that lowers my vibrations enough to be able to be born on a planet called Earth, in a solar system in the Milky Way galaxy, during the period from 1937 to 2020, which brings us to today. And that's okay. So, as I continue on this journey, I try to apply these principles in my daily life. Because, after all, living with joy and love, accepting what comes with serenity, is the path not only to inner peace but also to a truly meaningful life connected with the universe. Stay well, be a being of light. Until the next video.